Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a pretty big question. How do you become rich?
Yeah, it's a big one.
And, we should probably start by saying rich isn't just about, having piles of money.
Exactly. For a lot of people, it's more about choices, feeling secure.
Living comfortably, maybe, without constantly worrying about money.
Right. It's creating a life where you feel you have more control over your time, your options, stuff like that.
So our mission today in this deep dive is basically to explore some key ideas around building wealth.
And hopefully do it in a way that also helps you, our listeners, understand these concepts better in English, too.
Absolutely. So let's start with what it really means, to feel wealthy.
Yeah.
For me, it's definitely about freedom from financial stress and not always thinking about the next bill. It's having that ability to decide what I do with my day.
Instead of feeling trapped by, financial obligations.
Right. What are your first thoughts on that?
I think you really hit on a key thing there, freedom. It's the freedom to chase what matters to you, whether that's work you love, family time, hobbies.
It's without that constant pressure of just making ends meet. Yeah.
Totally. It's often less about hitting a specific number and more about that feeling of, possibility.
And a big part of getting there, I guess, is how we approach money, our mindset.
Oh, definitely. Our mindset, how we think and feel about money, that really sets the stage.
Yeah, because if you don't believe you can improve things financially...
You're probably not going to try very hard, are you?
Exactly. So, okay, let's maybe dig into some useful vocabulary first. How about financial freedom? What does that actually look like?
Okay, yeah, financial freedom. Well, that's basically when you have enough income, maybe from savings or investments, to cover your living costs.
Without needing a typical 9-to-5 job.
Right. Imagine someone, they built up investments, and the money those investments make covers their basic needs.
Ah, okay.
They've reached a level of financial freedom. They can choose if they work, how they work.
That makes sense. Having options. Okay, another word we hear all the time, debt.
Right. Debt. Simply put, it's money you owe someone else.
Like loans, credit cards?
Exactly. Car loans, student loans, credit card balances. Understanding debt and, importantly, managing it. That's a huge piece of building financial security.
And we mentioned mindset just now. How does our thinking really affect things financially?
Well, your mindset is your basic attitude, your beliefs. So with money, someone with a, let's call it a growth mindset.
Okay.
They believe they can learn, they can improve their financial skills, change their situation.
Which sounds much better than thinking it's all fixed.
Definitely more empowering than a fixed mindset.
Yeah.
Where someone might just think, well, this is my financial lot in life, can't change it.
Okay. And one more phrase. Living on your own terms. What's the financial angle there?
Living on your own terms, financially speaking, means you have the resources, the money, to make life choices based on what you want, your values.
Not just out of necessity?
Exactly. Being able to say yes to things that excite you, no to things that don't, without money being the only deciding factor. It's very closely tied to that idea of financial independence or freedom we talked about.
Got it. These are really helpful definitions. Okay, let's switch gears slightly. Let's talk habits. What do people who, successfully build wealth tend to do? What's a key habit?
A really basic, fundamental one is consistently saving, putting aside a part of their income regularly.
Even if it's not a huge amount?
Absolutely. It doesn't need to be massive to start. Even saving, say, 10% of what you earn consistently.
Yeah.
It really adds up over time.
Like planting a seed, you said.
Yeah, exactly. It grows slowly but surely.
Okay, that makes sense. Little by little. What's another big one?
Budgeting. Definitely budgeting. The B word.
Yeah. But a budget is really just a plan for your money. It helps you see where it's actually going each month.
So you can make better decisions.
Precisely. Make informed decisions about spending, about saving. Without a budget, it's so easy to just lose track. Yeah, money just disappears sometimes.
It does. So budgeting gives you control.
Right, being intentional. And what about taking the money you've saved and doing more with it?
Okay, so that leads us to investing. Instead of just letting savings sit in maybe a low-interest bank account, many people who build wealth actively invest that money.
Okay, define invest for us in simple terms.
Sure. To invest means putting your money into assets, things like stocks, which are shares in companies, or property, maybe even starting your own business.
with the hope they'll go up in value.
Exactly. With the expectation that these assets will grow in value over time, it's about making your money work for you, essentially, growing your wealth long term.
Okay, good overview of habits. Now, something a bit different but useful for our listeners, let's touch on some English grammar. Specifically, modal verbs for advice.
Ah, yes, these are really common and useful.
Yeah.
We often use modal verbs like should, might want to, and could when giving advice or suggestions.
Right. Can you give us examples related to our topic, becoming rich?
Sure. For like a fairly strong suggestion, you could say, you should start saving a small amount each month.
Okay, should for strong advice.
Yeah. For something maybe a bit softer, a gentler suggestion, you might want to learn more about different investment options.
Might want to. Okay.
And for suggesting a possibility, something you could consider, you could start a small side hustle for extra income.
Could for possibility. Got it. Those are clear. Could you maybe string them together in a sentence, show how they work?
Okay, let's try. If your goal is to become more financially secure, you should definitely create a budget. You might want to explore some investment options, and you could even think about a side hustle to boost your income.
Perfect. And using those modals,
Yeah.
it sounds more polite, right? Less like an order.
Exactly. They soften the advice, make it sound more like a helpful suggestion.
That's really useful, thanks. Okay, let's talk potential problems. What are some common mistakes people make when they're trying to build wealth? Pitfalls to avoid.
Oh, a big one is definitely trying to get rich too quickly.
The get-rich-quick schemes.
Exactly. This can lead people into really risky investments, or worse, into actual scams that promise just ridiculous returns.
Yeah, you hear about those.
Building wealth, for most people, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It generally takes time, patience, consistent effort.
That's such an important point. Slow and steady often wins the race here. So what's a more sustainable way to maybe increase income then?
Well, looking into building different income streams can be a really smart move.
Income streams, so not just relying on one job.
Right. Instead of just your main salary, you could look for ways to earn money from other sources too.
Like what?
Well, for example, you might have your full-time job, but maybe you also do some freelance writing online, or you create and sell, digital guides or something.
Okay, so using skills you already have, maybe.
Often, yes. Many people earn extra online selling crafts, maybe offering services like graphic design or being a virtual assistant.
Or even renting things out.
Yeah, like you have a spare room, renting it out could be an income stream. Or renting out a car you don't use often. These are all ways to bring in extra cash.
And this brings us to passive income, right? We mentioned it briefly.
Yes, exactly. This ties into that. Can you remind us what passive income means again?
Okay, yeah, let's clarify passive income. It's income you earn regularly, but it takes relatively little ongoing daily effort after you've done the initial setup work.
Right. Think about earning dividends from stocks you own or getting rent from a property you manage through an agent.
So the money comes in without you actively working for it at that moment.
Pretty much. You've created a system, an asset, that generates income more or less on its own.
Okay, great. Let's quickly circle back and nail down some of that vocabulary again, just to be sure. We mentioned side hustle, simple definition.
A side hustle is basically a second job or maybe a small business project that you do alongside your main job to earn extra money.
Got it. And passive income once more.
Passive income, that's money earned with minimal ongoing daily effort once the initial work or investment is done.
Okay, an income stream.
An income stream is simply any source where money is coming into you. Having several is often better than just one.
Gives you more security. And we warned against scams.
Yes, a scam is a dishonest trick, a fraudulent scheme designed to steal your money. Always be wary of things that sound too good to be true.
Good advice. And finally, budgeting.
Budgeting. That's the process of planning how you're going to spend and save your money. Usually involves tracking income and expenses.
Okay, let's try and put this together with a really simple example. Let's say someone earns $1,000 a month. Not a huge amount, right?
Yeah.
They decide to make a budget. Maybe they figured out $700 covers essentials, rent, food, bills.
Right, the necessities.
Then they decide, okay, I'm going to save $150 every single month. Put it aside.
Good discipline.
And with the last $150, they decide to invest it, maybe in something relatively safe to start, like a low-cost index fund.
Okay, yeah, that's a solid plan. Even with a modest income like $1,000, that consistent habit of saving $150 and investing $150.
It starts to build up over time.
Exactly. It starts the process of building wealth, And maybe down the line, they learn a new skill, find a side hustle.
Or figure out a way to create some passive income.
Right, and that can accelerate things, potentially help them increase their income, move closer towards that goal of financial freedom. It's about starting and being consistent.
Okay, perfect time for a quick quiz then, just to check we're all on the same page with these terms. Ready?
Let's do it. First question. What does passive income mean? Is it A, working a full-time job, B, income that doesn't require much daily effort, or C, borrowing money from a bank?
Okay, think about it. The answer is B, income that doesn't require much daily effort. Next up, what is a side hustle? Is it A, a type of scam, B, a second job or project done for extra income, or C, a detailed financial plan?
What do you think? The correct answer is B, a second job or project done for extra income. Okay, last one, focusing on grammar. Which of these modal verbs is commonly used to give advice? A, did, B, should, or C, was?
And the answer here is B, should. Remember, should, might want to, could, are good for advice.
So just to kind of wrap things up, becoming rich or financially secure, it's usually not about just getting lucky.
No, it seems much more about getting the right knowledge, having discipline with your money.
And definitely thinking long-term, having that patience we talked about.
Absolutely. Setting clear goals for your money, always trying to learn more about managing it, and then crucially, taking consistent action.
Even small actions.
Yeah, even if they seem small at first, those are really the key steps, aren't they?
They really are. And remember, even tiny positive changes you make to your money habits today can genuinely lead to big improvements down the road.
And hey, as you're learning about all this financial stuff with us, you're also boosting your English skills, so win-win. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
Yeah, we really hope this conversation was helpful. And just remember, wherever you are right now, financially, that positive, proactive mindset, that's maybe the most powerful first step you can take.